Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Friday, August the 17th. It's only about 1:30 today, but I can't take any more of this, so I'm going to do the chart lesson and call it a week. My son has a ball game today, and so I need to leave a little early today anyway, and so I thought I'd just go ahead and do the chart. I mean, there's nothing happening. I mean, you can see prices are just, I mean, we're not even moving. There's just no volume today. And there's just not much happening, and we've really been stuck in a 3 point range for the entire day, and it's just really hard to make money like that. The only thing you can do is if you get real entries real close to the lows or the highs is the only way you can trade this. And I'm going to talk about those trades real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's probably going to be very short today. There's just not much to talk about. This is just been kind of typical of what we've had, and if it stays true to the day, we may break out and have a big run at the, late in the day. But I don't like to trade after 1 o'clock anyway, and when it's really this bad and there's just not anything moving, it tends to bore you, and it tends to um, it kind of forces you into getting desperate to enter a trade, and you make mistakes. And so it's just better not to trade. I mean, on a day like this, just go enjoy the time with your family, take the day off, or go play golf, or go fishing, or whatever it is you like to do. Use a day like today to go do it, because you're not going to make a lot of money, more than likely, because there's not going to be enough movement. And for most traders, they're just going to get lulled to sleep and sucked into a bad trade, and then they're going to lose a bunch of money. So got that out of the way. Let's talk about the trades today, then I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll do it again next week. But you had the highs. You had this double top from the highs yesterday, so you should have been thinking about that area automatically. And, maybe having that should have been where since we didn't really have any highs of the overnight, they were only right here. By the time the market opened, we were already up here. So you should have been thinking about this as prices headed this way, because that's going to be strong support. And this is just a failed break above that. Prices are at least coming back to the EMA more than likely. So going short right here was okay. Definitely when we turn higher again, you could have gone short right here. It's getting close to the EMA, but you got to figure you're going to get a scalp out of that, because that's coming off that high. It was worth the risk anyway, because that's a long trap. And so I figured prices were, and prices are probably going to come all the way back and test this breakout area right here. And so generally we test those areas before prices can go higher. And you can see that's what we finally worked our way all the way back to here and tested that breakout area right across there. Or you could have even called it across there, but it's usually the closes. So right there, and that's where we made our double, kind of triple bottom of the day, and not much is closed. The closes are getting higher and higher. So my guess is we're just probably going to test these highs again, or maybe even up here for the day. I don't see us getting another run, but if we do break out, for anybody still trading when they see this, there's your target. I'd be shocked if we make that target today, but you never say never, and that's kind of been the what's happened lately is, we go into these ranges and then we break out and make a big move. So if we do, that's what I'd be looking at for my possible target. But we're not going to be around when that's happening unless we take off here real quickly. So there was your first short, and you could have entered here, even though that's a really bullish bar. Right at the open, they tend to take it the wrong direction. And so you got to be thinking, we're going to come back. And definitely when we ticked higher and created that little trap and turned back down, you don't even have to wait for this bar to be bearish. If we tick higher first and then turn back down, you can put your entry right below that and enter there. And again, you're only looking for a scalp for sure, and if you get lucky, you get more than that. But we had a bounce here. We came back and tested this area again, and we had this little double bar matching high. We ticked one tick higher and turned down. So there's you another entry. And what a lot of your smart traders do is they have a limit order sitting here. When they see these two matching bars up at this high, they put a limit order in. That's what happens. Prices break up there, and it hits all those sell orders, and reverses the market real fast. So that's why that occurs. So pay attention to these kind of setups near the highs. And again, that was only good for about a scalp unless you held on longer than you should have, and prices went down and made a new low. And you know right now it's a trading range day. This is really 2 legs back. We made a new low. You know, usually fade every new low, but I marked this one in green because I want to show you this here. This was a nice setup. It was a little bit questionable because of these 3 overlapping bars right here with this doji in the middle. But that's a nice reversal bar off the lows, a failed breakout. So it was worth going long right there. But when you got long and then pulled back, it's still worth holding on this pullback because a lot of times you'll do that. You'll break higher, pull back, and test those lows again. So your line would have been here, probably here or here at that point. And you test those lows again, and then you turn up. And when that ended as a doji, that was not a good sign. But when we broke higher and then started turning down again, that really wasn't a good sign. So when this bar started turning down again, really once this became a doji, I would have been thinking about exiting this trade even if you didn't have your 4 ticks. So, and you got a couple of chances to get out of here with a tick or 2 or 3 before it turned down and came back down. As long as you kept your stop below here, you still would have been good, and you see that, and I'm always preaching that at the lows. But when we made this second entry long here and then tried to go lower, you're better off to exit this trade. So that's why I made this green. This is a good setup. It's an okay setup. It's not a great one because of that doji in the middle there. But it's a good setup because you're able to get long just a tick or so off the bottom, and that's where you want to get long on these kind of days, these range days. But when you went higher, pulled back, and then tried to go higher again and failed, that's a signal to get out. And, you know, you would have had to let this one actually go against you and come within a tick or 2 of stopping you out before it turned back up again. And so you're better to exit, and then when you get another chance to enter here, you enter back here, and you're back in at the same place. And then it tried to fool you again. Look at that little trap. That's what I'm talking about. They almost always have that little trap, and then it turns. So you really could have entered here, but because the last couple of highs hadn't gone past that point, there's not a lot of room there, and we're not sure we're not going lower. So it's not worth entering here because it's too high into the move. So that's why I did not mark the second entry here, although it's not a bad entry. It's just not a good one, and it would have worked. You see that. Of course, it did find resistance when it broke higher and pulled back. And you definitely didn't want to enter here because you're definitely even too high on these highs. And you see what happened if you would have entered there. You would have got trapped, and the market would have moved against you quite a bit there. So let me get that out of the way. But that was pretty much it. I didn't like this entry because, again, look how high you have to get in up here. And it takes almost, you know, a 2-point stop just to get below these lows down here. And, you know, there's nothing bullish. It's still got a red body. Then you got another doji. So it starts to set up like this one, except you're not as low. So it's not even as good a move. So that's not a good move. And you see it didn't really, you know, prices didn't really go anywhere. They just went a little bit higher and came back. So it wasn't a great entry, and that shows. You got your second entry long here. But again, you're so close to these highs, and you see how we struggle to go higher. Now you've got all these overlapping bars. My guess is we could go higher and test this high, but it's just not worth risking it. Not this late in the day. It's almost 2 o'clock now. So that was pretty much it for today. You had the short off the high. Again, you got a doji that touched the highs, turned back down, and so you're able to get short up here at the very highs, and it moved down rather quickly, and that was that. So, and that was pretty much it for the day. Okay, sorry, I had an interruption there, and I can't remember where we were. I think we were talking about this short. So we were pretty much wrapping it up for the week, and again, the reason we took this short is this is the highs of the range. You get a chance to get in within a tick or 2, you know, a few ticks off the high, and so you got all this room to try to scalp back out, and that's exactly where we went, back down to these lows. Really, I had moved this down to here off those closes there, and you can see that's exactly where we went to. and then we bounced. And the reason I didn't like this one was because you can't get in close enough to the lows, and there is still room to scalp out before getting here, but it just doesn't set up very well, and I can't do anything for the phone and everything else going on. But anyway, I'm just going to wrap it up. That's it for this week. Hopefully you had a good trading week. If you're still trading today, when you obviously you're probably done trading by the time you see this. But if it's 2 o'clock on Friday and there's just not any volume, there's not any movement. So if you are still trading and you watch this after the fact, my suggestion is just take the day off and go do something you enjoy doing rather than trying to stay in the market during all this mess. So just no movement, there's no volume. So the fact that it's Friday, people are just wrapping up the week quickly. What we probably do have to look forward to is the Labor Day weekend. Most of your traders will be back after that weekend, be back into the meat of the trading season. So hopefully things will pick up then and we'll have a little better opportunity to make some money. Lately, this is really all you could do, and there's just no other way to trade that range other than what I just showed you. And if you're entering anything differently, you're really trading dangerously. You could buy them blindly, and I'll be honest, I had a buy order right at these limit order, and when it ticked through I got long, and so I was able to scalp out of that. But you should technically wait on this setup and then treat it like we did, because you notice all these overlapping bars. That's just not a good sign, and you're better off just to exit. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I hope you had a good trading week, and we'll see you next time.